All right, the next dive we're going over is a 202C or a back flip tuck, which I want to give you a quick warning before we go into this. Out of the hundreds of kids that I've coached throughout the years and years that I've coached, this is actually the dive that most people would think is not dangerous at all, but ultimately, in my opinion, it's probably the most dangerous, because I've seen so many kids end up hitting the board on it because they don't think about it. They don't think it's going to be dangerous. They forget to lean back, and ultimately sometimes they end up throwing their head back, so they think that they're back, but since their head is so far back, they lose contact with their body and lose the realization that their body is still over here. So it's about keeping your head neutral, which is really important, and just making sure that you're far at first on this dive and safe at first. Then eventually we could bring it higher and closer. So just being real with where you are. If you're too far, then yeah, bring it in, use your video, and make sure you're making a difference. Ultimately, when I'm teaching this, I just teach a back dive straight, and then as soon as you jump for the back dive straight, after you take it far, it's just back dive straight, knees up. Then you'll easily be able to roll. It's very simple. This is actually probably easier than a front flip for a lot of people. So yeah, I really think that this is a pretty simple dive. A couple things you could do is to really work on this is do the back roll on the floor, and to do it properly with the actual tuck position with your toes pointed. So just being able to come here, pointing the toes, and then being able to stand up. So many people have a hard time with that. They go crooked, they don't push through the hands, the toes are not pointed. So spend some time on that. If you don't have a mat, you could do it kind of on like a yoga mat or something, or on the carpet, or possibly talk to your parents and see if they can get a mat. Maybe at practice, if you come to our practice, you could even take a mat home if you can bring it back the next practice, just to give you some time to work on this. But I really want to see you do at least 30 of these until you can get this clean. It's a very simple dive, just remembering to get the takeoff safe at first, and then getting the takeoff right, jumping up, tucking, finishing confidently above the board. Nice and simple, straight through the water, very simple dive. Keep going over this and bring it in the distance. Start off far, bring it in, get the position right until you get this for at least 7s. For every dive we go over, you got to get this for at least 7s consistently before you move on to other skills and before we can move on from this. I hope this helps. Now we're going to move on to the next dive.